Discipline is a practice of training someone to behave according to the rules, thereby achieving responsible behavior and self-control. Discipline helps our children to create habits, which in turn create routines and help them to be wonderful people in future. Discipline also helps our children to organize themselves, internalize rules, acquire appropriate behavior pattern. But when should we discipline our children is the question, and what kind of discipline is appropriate? Hello viewers, you're once more welcome to your favorite show, Shanti's Haven. On Shanti's Haven we talk about the family, everything that has to do with the family, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This parenting journey is not an easy one. It's not impossible also. There are parents, there are great parents out there who have raised wonderful children, who are now adults and raising their own children. If some people have succeeded, it means you too can succeed. That's why every day on Chances Haven, we learn one thing or the other that will help us be better parents tomorrow. Today we are on discipline. Dear parents, dear guardians, it is very important to discipline our children because we have rules and regulations and we have norms that we go by, and we want them to be balanced human beings in the future, balanced adults who can manage their emotions and adults who can go by the rules in order to succeed. But when should we discipline our children is the problem, because most of the times we parents discipline these children. Let me talk about the story first before we get to that. One day, this child, this young girl, found herself in a family meeting. A meeting where relatives, external relations like uncles, aunties, cousins, a big family meeting, so they were there. And this child in the middle of everybody in the living room, and the mother calls the child and tells the child something in the dialect. This child doesn't understand and turns and says, "Mommy, I didn't understand what you said." The mother is so angry because everybody was quiet and listening to her. And the mother gets angry and gives this child a hard knock on the head. We like saying they crack you onto that child, like you feel it under your feet. The question here was, why did this mother discipline this child? Is it because the child did not understand the dialect? Or is it because this child made the woman look like a bad parent in front of the other relatives? Or is it because this child made the woman not feel proud as a woman who knows it all? Or why did this parent actually discipline? Ask yourself every time you want to discipline your child, why am I disciplining this child? It is sad to say that sometimes we discipline our children when we have not even taught them better. I think we can draw inspiration, we can draw from our schools where before you enroll your child, they give you the school rules and regulations, and they say you should go through the rules and regulations with your child, and the child should sign at the end of it. And sometimes the child signs and the parent signs to show that you have accepted that you will go by these rules. That means if you're bringing your child to that institution, you've accepted to go by the rules of that institution. In case the child goes against it, they can punish the child accordingly. The school already understands that it is always fair to discipline a child who understands why the child is being disciplined. Let us copy that also in our homes. This happens a lot when we have other visitors coming in. Imagine as a parent, you have this dream that I will have my child, and when visitors will come, the child or the children of the child will come to the parlor. "Oh, welcome auntie, welcome uncle, God bless you, feel at home, please will you want a glass of water?" And the child goes back to the room well cultured. And hey parents, you've never told the child this is what you do when visitors come. You've never taught the child, you've never done anything, and the child now comes, a visitor has come, maybe the children, as soon as the visitor is entering, the child goes to the room and stays there all day. Or as soon as the visitor is coming, the child is passing and just running and playing, doesn't even greet, doesn't do anything. And there in front of the visitor, you call the child, you smack, you shout at the child, oh, this child is training you, what kind of bad attitude you have to greet you have, don't you know that? And you are shouting at this child when you have never taught the child how to do it. Maybe you want to just call the child if you did not do it before. You want to call this child instead and say, look, say hello to auntie. When they have said it, and you say you can go back. When that visitor goes, you've learned your lesson. You call that child. Teach them that, look, when visitors come to the house, it is always good for us to do this or to do that, to behave in this way or that way. So when they don't behave in the way that you have taught them, then you discipline them. That way, it is going to make more sense to this child. I'm being disciplined because I didn't follow the right norms of our home. Always ask yourself, why am I disciplining? Is it fair? You have this situation also, especially with our African and extended families. You've brought in this child, let's say you brought in a child from somewhere else, and this child grew up where there are no rules, no regulations, they just live their lives. And the child comes to your home, and the child is also living in that kind of way. Let's give an example. Say, this child, where they come from, if you're hungry, you just go to the pot and help serve yourself. Anytime you want to eat, you just go eat. But in your home, you have times that people eat, and they serve food at particular moments. And now this child comes to your house and starts feeling free, goes to the pot, goes to the fridge, goes to the cupboard, just feels free, eats the way they want. Some children are not vigilant to come somewhere and watch how it is done before they start acting. They just go ahead and feel free. I think as a parent, as a guardian, it's your place to call this child to order and say, look here, this is how it is done in this home. And if you don't do like this, this is what I will do to you. So that if that child falters, then you're disciplining this child. It is justified, it is clear. It's true there are some children who will hardly ever listen to what you say. They will not follow you, they will not follow what you're teaching them or whatever. But let it be that you did your part and that child did not adhere. Than that you didn't do your part and you're just disciplining a child and even punishing a child for what the child did not do. When I was in boarding school, one evening, a student behind me was using Walkman. We had Walkman and earphones for those who could, the haves and the have not. Those who had, they had their Walkman. During prep, this child was listening to music and singing aloud. You know, with the earpiece, you will sing aloud and you don't even realize that you're disturbing. And I turned and told the child, you are disturbing me. When I turned is when the teacher got into class. That was my crime. Shanti in trouble. The teacher got in furious and just said, hey, you come here, and just called for me. I could not explain anything. The teacher did not want to hear anything. He just heard music from our class and thought that I was the one singing that night. This teacher made me to kneel on the gravel that night. And then he brought this cane. I think it's a rubber that they use in tying goats. That is what he used in beating me up that night. I was so annoyed because I was like, why am I being punished for what I didn't even do? Please, teachers. Teachers, your guardians as well. Don't just punish children for punishing sake, please. Once in a while, find out, or often find out, try to use your, I don't know, do something and find out why this noise and how, maybe explanation from others will make you get to know the culprits, because God forgive that teacher for what I went through. I was so annoyed that day. But that was not discipline for me. What he did, it didn't help me to better any behavior. That wasn't right. Please, teachers, don't do that. Guardians, parents, before you discipline a child, make sure you have taught the child about what you're disciplining them for. Because it will not be fair. Even God understood that. That is why He's put His laws in His holy book, the Bible. And there, when you falter, then you can be disciplined because you went astray. I hope we will go back and think about the things we used to do to our children and want to rectify one or two of those things. And also, in the comments box, what are those aspects that we normally punish our children for or discipline them about which we didn't teach them? Maybe you want to put it there and it will help some parents. You know, sometimes you will not know everything you should tell the child, but as situations show up, you will discover something you had not taught your child. So what I'm trying to help us understand here is that avoid reacting quickly. Always think, this thing I want to do, did I teach this child? Is the child aware of the right thing that the child is supposed to do? And don't assume that they know. No, 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 no. They don't know, because God gave them to you to nurture them. If you didn't raise them in a certain way, who did you think did that for them? So you can't expect them to know what you did not teach them. So please let us join hands together and discipline our children after having taught them what they should know, so that they will grow in that same light. Thank you so much for watching Shanti's Haven, and remember to always leave it better than you met it. See you some other time. Bye bye.